Can you tell me what type of Scrum teams you have been working with? This seems to be a very difficult question, but also a very easy question, right? Hello, welcome to the Scrum chat room with Dr. Francis Mbunya. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. For returning viewer, thank you very much. We are always dedicated to bring you information that's going to help you get closer and closer and closer to that agile journey. The word's becoming agile. What's agile? Agile is about thinking flexible. Agile is about getting digital. Agile is about growing in the mindset and know that things can change at minute, at every second. So our goal is to keep on learning. There's definitely no end to learning. For you to do agile, you must become agile, right? Which is about flexibility. Okay, our question for today is, tell me about the type of teams that you're working with. We know, oh, this is Scrum teams, but is there just one type of Scrum teams? Are there different teams? We're going to find out. But before we go ahead, a couple of ground rules. Our next SAFe certification class is starting on Monday. That's going to be Monday, the 11th of July. It runs from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Thursday. If you want to be SAFe certified in 4 days, you want to check in the link below to register, or simply just send me a text and say, okay, Francis, I'm interested in joining your next SAFe class. We go extra miles. It's definitely not what you're going to see online, right? We go extra miles, pay attention to our students, keep our class sizes really small so that we can pay attention on your own need. For those who you're in the journey and you feel like you're not hitting it, I feel like it's getting difficult. Okay, we've opened up again to, I'm actually taking out new students right now. So you can reach out to me. I should be able to help you if you meet the criteria. It's not a guarantee that if you reach out to me, I will help you, but I'm going to try my best, because when I commit to help you, I want to make sure that I am putting in the right information, the right effort, the right resources to make sure that you succeed. For those who are already in the job, and feel like you're losing it or you're not getting it, we also have mentoring session. I also do mentoring for those who are already on the job. Now, this is something that you want to understand about becoming a Scrum Master and staying as a Scrum Master. It goes beyond just you understanding the Scrum framework. Most of what is engaged is leadership. Yeah, most of what is engaged is the leadership aspect, and that's the leadership aspect a lot of people are missing. Even people that have been in the Scrum team for 2 years, 3 years, they lack the leadership aspect, and because of that, sometimes they're unable to kind of scale through to agile coaches positions, scale through to other bigger positions within a very short time. So those are some of the stuff that we're trying to bridge the gap. We're trying to also build a community. If you check on the list below, working on a community, quite a lot of resources there. And the reason I started working on this community is because I realized I cannot help everybody, right? I cannot answer questions to everybody. I know a lot of people have written to me and I've not yet had the time to respond. So if you're one of them, I'm not ignoring you. Just kind of rewrite again. It kind of pop up sometimes. Those messages come up too much. That's a bit difficult to handle. All right, now let's get on the talk of the day. Scrum teams. Okay, this kind of very frequent asked question now that's kind of throwing a lot of people up. Like, oh, I was working with a team of developers, and then, oh, what about teams were there? It's like, were there an engineering team, user interface team, were there a web team? Okay, so what are the different teams when we talk about Scrum team? Are there different teams when we talk about Scrum team? Yes. Now, the team you will be working with is going to be determined by the business value you want to deliver and the environment you want to deliver. Which is why you need to pay very close attention to your case study. If, let's say for instance, you say that your project was, you were working with a team of developers and you were migrating data from one software to a cloud system, that is good. What type of team does that? That is a data engineering team, right? And now, if it's a data engineering team because you're migrating data from one system to another, what system were the data in, and Where were you migrating the data to? Now, although this might seem technical, but these are the things you're supposed to know, especially if you say, oh, we're migrating stuff from one portal to another. As a Scrum Master, you need to know the portals, right? That's not a technical question. You cannot be supervising or you cannot be helping a team to migrate without you knowing the data. You don't need to know how it is being done, but at least you should know the data, the system. Now, what are some of the database systems that, as a Scrum Master, or which are commonly used? Now, you have Postgres, you have DynamoDB, you also have with people that deal with really large data, you can have IoT Hub, Internet of Things Hub, and you can have Event Hub. So Event Hub, it's also kind of used with companies that use like maximum data because it can process like millions of data in less than no time, right? Now you have Postgres, you have DynamoDB, you have Event Hub, you have IoT Hub. There are many these are systems that can hold database and you can move database from one team to another. Now that's about a team. Your team it's a data engineering team moving data from one point to another and also making sure that everything is in place. Now your team can also be an API team. What's API? Application Programming Interface. And this is kind of more of the team that build the ecosystem of any software. We'll talk about ecosystems, about the environment. How do we want this application to behave? When I give this command, I want to see this result. When I give this command, I want to see this result. When I give this command, I want to see this result. So building the structure, building the engineering structure, building the layout, building the infrastructure is the work of an API team, Application Programming Interface. So if, for instance, you say that I was working with a team of developers and we're building an interface, you already know that your team is more of an API team. We're building an interface that could enable, let's say, that could enable Chase Bank to effectively, I want to put something, to effectively receive all data and rate time of all of the members that are logging out internationally. So if anyone log out or log in into the app internationally, there should be an interface that collect like data for those who are logged in. So it's going to be programming at the back here. So immediately the system identifies that, oh, this person is logged out of the United States. Now the system collect the data and can send to a pool, right? The user doesn't really know what is happening on the background. So API teams kind of focus on how the system should behave when things happen at the front end. Now you can also have a user interface team, which means that your team is working more on the front end, which is more of configuration on how you want the user to experience the application. For instance, if you look at, I want to use an example of WhatsApp. Most people are familiar with WhatsApp, not everyone. Now, with WhatsApp, if you look at the user interface is changing. Before, you could not do a recording and speed up the limit times 2 times 3. Now you can do it, right? A couple of stuff that have been added to it. Before there was no WhatsApp business. Now there's WhatsApp business. So the user interface is constantly changing. If you look at Facebook, if you look at Instagram, those are teams that are working on how the user can be able to visualize how the user should interact with the application or with the web system. So those are user interface team. But the user interface team, for them to actually function rightly, they need to also work with API team. That's why in your most team, you have front-end developers and back-end developers. So the configuration on what should respond, on how things should respond when the user view them, are built within the ecosystem. And you can have some teams or some companies that are not really kind of focused on what they want the user to see, but they just want to configure their system on how it can operate internally and how a team should behave when commands are placed internally, how it should relate from one department to another. So not all teams are going to have work on users interface and kind of, they might just be working on the system and engineering stuff. All right, perfect. Now you might have a mobile automation team, right? The application is already developed and they just want to look at how they can configure that into a mobile app and how the app should log in, how the app should behave and all of that. So that's a mobile automation team. You can have a support team. A support team is a team that's just standby and just fixing bugs, right? You can have a whole unit that just fixing bugs. Bugs are just like, we deploy the system into production to the user environment and the user start using it, and there's some breakages and there's some things that we need to fix. Now, there can be a whole support team that's just making sure that all of this stuff are being fixed. So a support team now will be very cross-functional. Now, you can also have a security team, and some of the team might kind of encompass all of these, which is like a full stack team, right? They have obviously the developer, tester, and all of that. In some organizations, the team that's testing is different. The support team is different. The security team is different. Right. So these are kind of the different teams that can cut across a Scrum environment. So when you're building your case study, you need to pay attention on which are these teams. And now, a secret for you guys, because you watched to the end. Before you go for any interview, you need to have in your mind what type of team you're working with, how many team members have prepared, like, all of these questions. You need to have answers before you go. Don't just go on generically. That's why we have case study. You take your case study, you already kind of factor in all of this into your case study in such a way that if you've been asked, it's not like, what should kind of take you unaware as situational questions, not questions like, what type of teams were you working with? Was it a data engineering team? No, these are stuff that you should really take your time, work on it, know exactly what to say, how to defend it. All right. Tomorrow, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to do 3 videos straight in a row. And tomorrow, I definitely want to talk more about team performance. That's also one of the questions that's coming up like really often. How do you evaluate team performance and how you use raw data to evaluate team performance? I'm going to handle that tomorrow, and how you can implement all of those data as a factor in your next interview and how you can scale it up. Okay, remember, if you want to check more resources, check the description. There's quite a lot of resources, question and answer that can help you. If you need coaching, which I advise you to do, especially if you've been taking interviews upon interviews and you're not making it, you need someone to be able to coach you, right? Reach out and we should be able to help you. For those who are interested in SAFe Scrum Master Certification, reach out. Our SAFe certification is coming up next week. All right, I see you tomorrow. And don't forget, it's about a growing mindset. It's a whole learning circle. Nobody knows it all. That is why we're coming back every day with new knowledge. Even if we're saying the same thing, that we're teaching the same thing, we're teaching it in a different way with different new energy. I'll see you tomorrow.